Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Made You Book. My name's Gretchen and today I'm going to be talking about Tom Lake by Ann Patchett. So this is the second Ann Patchett book that I've ever read, the first being The Dutch House, which I read a few years ago. And The Dutch House, I remember I very much enjoyed. It wasn't a favorite of all time, but it was a strong, solid, a good book, and I feel very much the same about Tom Lake, but I would say I think that I liked this one a little bit more. I found there to be more in this book that was relatable. So I definitely think if you were a fan of The Dutch House, now granted, having not read other Ann Patchett novels, I don't know what her other writing was like, but I can safely say that if you liked The Dutch House, I think that you would also enjoy this. The Dutch House to me was more of an attestation of familial love. And although there is familial love in Tom Lake, it really primarily focuses on young romantic love. And I think that it did such a beautiful job of portraying what it's like to be in love for the first time, to kind of be on your own for the first time and having that little bit of independence while you're having this love affair going on as well. And I just found it to be a very beautiful, poignant story. Now, to talk about what the book is about, so it follows our main character, Laura, and the book opens with Laura and her friend. They are helping out at the local community theater run the audition. So they're not actually there to audition. They're just helping out with, getting everybody organized and getting all of the actors that are auditioning where they need to be, etc. And as Laura is watching all of these auditions, she starts to think to herself how much better she thinks that she could do. And on a whim, she just decides that she is going to audition for the part of Emily in Our Town. So unbeknownst to her that day, she had no idea that at the end of that day, she would have been cast for that role. And after that happens, her life kind of revolves around that character of Emily and her being the actress that is portraying her. She kind of becomes obsessed with it, and through a series of events, she somehow finds herself agreeing to take the role of Emily at a summer stock production of Our Town in Tom Lake, Michigan, which is in Michigan. So that's kind of like the beginning of the story. And then we find out that we fast forward kind of like to 2020 in the spring, and we all remember what was going on in the spring of 2020, and her family, her husband and her 3 daughters, are all in lockdown together on the family cherry orchard, which is also in northern Michigan. So them spending so much time together and trying to pass the time, they're doing a lot of work on the orchard, and in the free time they have been like watching old movies and things like that. And the dad lets it slip that Laura had an affair, or a love affair, with their favorite actor, Peter Duke. So once the daughters find out about this, now granted, these daughters are older, they're in their 20s. Once the daughters find out about this, they are immediately intrigued and they want all of the juicy details of their mom's love affair with this famous actor. So then the story takes over, and Laura is retelling the story of her first love to her daughters during the pandemic. So basically, when we get into Laura's love story, I mentioned that she ended up doing a summer stock production of Our Town, and she played her usual part of Emily. And there she meets Peter Duke. He is also an actor that is a part of that production, and she very quickly is enamored by him, and they very quickly start this love affair. It is all consuming for Laura. She has never really been away from home. She is experiencing all of these things for the very first time. She has her first taste of independence, and she is completely enamored by this man. Now, Peter Duke is a little bit of a ladies' man. He struggles with commitment, and he kind of flits from woman to woman, but she is still taken with him and very quickly starts to fall in love with him. Now, the story follows obviously their love affair, but there's also a lot of familial love in this book as well. So one of the characters that we meet is Peter Duke's brother Sebastian, and Sebastian is an interesting character because he has his own life, he has his own aspirations, and he kind of puts all of his life on hold every time his brother Peter Duke needs something. And Peter Duke is always needing something. He is also an addict. He struggles with alcoholism, and Sebastian loves his brother so much that he would go to any lengths to protect him. And it's a really strong story about their relationship as well, and that brotherly love that you have for your family, and you would do anything to protect them. And unfortunately, sometimes you have to save them from themselves at times. And I think that Ann Patchett did a lovely job with that story. Now, there's also other kind of subplots that are going on as well. So the majority of the story is about the time at Tom Lake and that summer, but we also get stories about things that are happening in current day during the pandemic. So she obviously has these three daughters. They all had, two of them had lives away from the cherry farm. One is also living close to her parents and helps run the cherry farm. And she also has a boyfriend that lives close, and her goal and her want in life is to keep the orchard going and make that her legacy. And the book also, so we talked about some of the themes already. So obviously romantic love, we have familial love, we have addiction with Peter Duke's alcoholism. We also have things going on in the present day with the pandemic that are making her daughters question what their life is going to look like now. And specifically her older daughter that has taken has taken over part of the farm and plans on taking it over when her parents have passed on. She is in a relationship with a man that is also a farmer, and she struggles with the idea of whether or not she should bring children into the world with the way that it is. It's also kind of about climate change. She's very much, an environmentalist, and she worries about the planet and the state of the world, and she kind of grapples with those tough decisions about whether or not she feels like she should be selfish enough to bring a child into the world. And that's my word, that's her words, not mine. I don't want anybody to think that I feel that it's selfish to bring a child into the world. That's just what her thoughts are. And it's very interesting how we have like so many other things going on. And also, one of the other things that I just absolutely loved about this book was the atmosphere that came with it. So the theater production took place in Tom Lake, and there was a lot of talk about the actual lake and how they would, between their rehearsals and during their quick lunch breaks, that they would all go and swim in nature and they would enjoy all of that. And then we have them as adults, Laura as an adult, I should say, remaining in Michigan, and that was never intended to be her home. She, I think, was originally from, I want to say New Hampshire or Connecticut. I think it was maybe Connecticut. So she somehow, through theater, ended up in a completely different place and kind of living off the land and making that her life, and also the struggles that you kind of have as a farmer and as an orchardist, like all of those things that come with that and everything else that's going on with the planet that is making that profession more and more difficult. So I just thought that it was very interesting, and I love that kind of slice of life type of novel that you get where nothing really incredible happens, nothing major happens. It's just a mom telling her daughter her life story, and it's beautiful, it's poignant. There were times that I did get a little emotional, like not to the point of crying, but I was just like, oh, wow, like that really hurts, or that would have been such a horrible, painful thing for her to go through. And then toward the end, we even get a little bit of a twist, which was fun as well. I really appreciated that, and I thought that it definitely added to the story, and it explained so much about how Laura got to where she was, and how she came to be living that life that she currently had with her family. So I definitely think that this is a book worth reading. I absolutely loved the prose. It was beautifully written, and the one other thing that I adored about this book specifically is that, as you know, I like to read the physical and listen to the audio at the same time. Meryl Streep narrates the audio, and she does such an amazing job. If you are a fan of Meryl Streep at all, I think that you would really enjoy the audiobook. She's a master at accents, and she has her own little accent for each of the different characters, and her voice is just so smooth and soothing, and I could literally listen to her read me anything, and I would appreciate that. So for those of you that think that you would like Meryl Streep to tell you a story, this is definitely an audiobook that I think that you would like. And now, actually, now that I think about it, Tom Hanks narrated The Dutch House. So I don't know how Ann Patchett manages to get all of these A-list celebrities to narrate her books, but good job, Ann. That's very impressive. But yeah, I gave this a solid 4 stars. It's not going to be my favorite book of all time, but there are definitely things in here, just the uniqueness of the plot and the setting, and what was going on. I think this story is going to remain with me for a very long time, and I would love to see them make a movie out of this. And why not just let Meryl Streep star in it too? You know, why not? But Tom Lake by Ann Patchett, definitely worth a read. And if you've read this, let me know how you enjoyed it, if you enjoyed it, if you didn't. And if you've read any other Ann Patchett, where do you think I should go next with my Ann Patchett journey? I have Commonwealth and I have Bel Canto, but I know that she's written some other ones. So let me know what you think I should read next. And until then, we'll talk later. Bye.